Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on the approval hearing of Mr. Renson Mulele Igonga, OGW, nominee for approval for appointment as the Director of Public Prosecutions. Honorable Speaker, this report contains the proceedings and deliberations of the committee on the approval hearing for Mr. Renson Mulele Igonga, a nominee for approval of the position of DPP in the country. The nomination was forwarded to the House by His Excellency the President via the communication dated 17th August 2023. Honorable Speaker, we thereafter conducted the approval hearings, and I wish to inform the House that, going by the membership of those present, the members of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, this was more of a peer review, as Mr. Igonga is actually an experienced advocate who has worked in many sectors of the country, including the Lands Office and the Office of the DPP. Present at the nomination, and apart from me and my Vice Chair, Mr. Ekomas Mwengi Mutuse, we had Assistant Lawyer, Honorable Farah Malim. We then had another long-serving advocate of the country, the Honorable Francis Joseph Kajwang, member for Waraka. The others included our Chief Whip, Osoro Sylvanus Onyego. We had Makali John Okwisia. Then we had Mureo Edward Wakili. We had Jane Maina Njeri. We also had Geshohi Kagusha John Philip and Honorable Mogaka Stephen MP, not leaving out another long-serving advocate, Aden Dawood of Wajir East. We also have members who are possibly paralegals by now, and they include the Honorable Mushira Michael Mwangi and Honorable Siad Amina Udgon. All these ones sat and listened to exactly how the nominee would respond to questions. We evaluated his papers, academic papers, practice papers, and any other documents that were submitted to us, and we confirmed that the nominee was suitable. His response to questions was without doubt that he actually understood what the position of the DPP in the country is and what is expected of him, because each of these members asked him questions so that we would get what response he has and whether he is prepared to take up such an onerous position. The country has been without a DPP for a while, and therefore there was some anxiety that we had to allay. And some of the questions touched on what we consider to be fundamental today, because he was asked, we know that the office of the DPP recently terminated high mentioned cases that came up and were terminated for lack of evidence. The question we were posing is, why were such cases being taken to court when actually there wasn't sufficient evidence? And his response was that, in fact, that remains the question. But he has put together a team of advocates in his office to be looking at all cases that are brought to the office to confirm whether they can be sustained in court or these are cases that should not be proceeded with. Another question which was interesting was how he would cushion the office against interference by the executive and any other arm of the government, including parliament. And his response was this, that bearing in mind that the office of the DPP is actually an independent office, he would stay away from any activities that may reveal elements of interference, such that while he knows he has to cooperate with the executive and the legislature under the judiciary where he will be working, he must stay away from any involvement of matters that may actually compromise the office. We then went into a long debate, and we have produced a report, a comprehensive report, which you may all have to look at. You will see that having considered all the matters, including his background, and his background is that he's a legal practicing advocate. We also went into the process by which he was actually nominated by the Public Service Commission that interviewed him after the selection panel. We also went into a suitability, including academic qualifications. We were satisfied that he does satisfy all these, including his response to questions under Chapter 6 of the laws of, Chapter 6 of the Constitution, and the Ethics and the Ethics Act as regards civil servants. His response again was satisfactory, and we eventually went into an analysis of what we came up with. And in summary, after listening to him, we formed an opinion that the nominee is actually qualified, him being a Kenyan citizen and does not hold any dual citizenship with any other country. We also confirmed that him being an advocate of the High Court of Kenya with 18 years of experience meets the requirements of Section 157(3) of the Constitution, Article 157(3) of the Constitution. We also confirmed that the nominee demonstrated an aspiration for integrity in the public service, and that he meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity. We further went on to interrogate him and confirmed that having been declared by all the agencies, including the KRA, the HELB, ESCC, DCI, ORPP, with regard to his tax compliance, higher education loans repayments, ethics and integrity, criminal records, and other political party affiliations, he has met the statutory requirements for appointment to the office as proposed. And finally, the committee invited the public to submit memoranda under oath on nominees' suitability to hold office as required by Section 6(9) of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act. We wish to confirm to this House that nobody, not even a single memorandum, was received in opposition. I also wish to confirm that in fact we got memoranda in support. This is not a requirement when we are doing approval hearings. However, it is worth noting that even the Law Society of Kenya wrote a memorandum in support of his appointment as the DPP. Therefore, having weighed on all the matters that were brought before us, and having considered everything that was submitted to us, now we wish to confirm that we have made a report to this House, which I present to the House, that the National Assembly does approve the appointment of Mr. Renson Mulele Igonga to the position of the Director of Public Prosecutions. This is because he has met all the requirements, and we are convinced that he's going to serve the country. It goes without gainsaying that this is a big office. He's going to have a lot of work to do, and especially now that the DPP office has been vacant for quite some time. With those remarks, I do move that this report be adopted, and request my able Vice Chairman, Ms. Honorable Ekomas Mwengi Mutuse, to actually second the adoption. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mutuse. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to second the approval of the Director of Public Prosecutions nominee, Mr. Renson Mulele, Igonga. Mr.